Hey there, guys. Welcome to Confessions of the Idiots. Everybody wants to confess, but not everyone wants to hear them. Today, I'm joined by a man who I've wanted to have on this podcast since it started 2 years ago, the legend that is the great Marty Sheargold. Welcome.
Thank you, Sam. That's quite embarrassing because I'm not even sure why I haven't done it. Like, there's been some time constraints.
Is it a general distaste for me? Is that like a
No,
hidden
it's
thing
it's a fear of working outside of my absolute comfort zone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You've been getting back into stand-up and everything as well. You've been a busy guy.
I have been busy, but also I'm one of those blokes, Sam, that you absolutely have to get me on the right day. Or otherwise I just go, nah.
Not today. You did tell me a long time ago that you do cancel a lot.
A lot. I guess the way to stop doing that is to stop making the commitment in the first place. But if you get me in one of those yes moments, I go, yeah, of course I'll do this with Sam.
Yeah.
This is so fine.
And then it gets closer to it and you go, absolutely not.
Then I'll cancel you 5 times and see if you decide to give up on me.
Yeah.
It's like being in a relationship with me, Sam.
Have you been waiting to break up? Like, have you been waiting for me to break up with you and just go, this isn't happening?
I've been hoping you would leave me. But you just
That's so
don't.
good. I've never had a guest before come on that's played the long game and be so honest that you haven't wanted to do this. It's a great feeling.
It's not that I haven't. I'm just pushing the boundaries of our relationship to find out where your breaking point is.
We've done pretty well.
Yeah, we've done really well.
When I first started stand-up, Marty, I was trained under the great Greg Fleet, so my tolerance is fucking up here. Like, I've got the highest level of tolerance. I've been cancelled on time and time again.
You've had a couple of dates change. And availability becomes an issue with the master. I too worked with Greg in the early days of my career, and people would be like, "Oh, what was that like?" I'd be like, "It was amazing."
Yeah, the best time of my life.
It was fantastic. I would have been like 24,
right,
and he would have been, I guess, early 30s, and just at the peak of his sort of stand-up powers.
Yeah. Did you?
And we toured together for a couple of years. So I used to watch him do stand-up a lot.
Amazing.
It was amazing.
Judith Lucy told me a great story about you guys in a hotel room together and just having the time of your life in Tasmania one time.
Yes, I remember that. It was a pretty hectic couple of days.
Yeah.
With room service coming up to demand we return all their glassware.
They didn't have any left in the whole hotel.
We're like, no, you're not coming in.
We won't. Do not come. Do not disturb. Ever.
Yes, it was getting pretty hectic up there. At one point, Judith rang down. I've told this story. I'm sure she won't care. Judith rang down and ordered another bottle of champagne, and they said, "Oh, you've drunk us out of Moe. We've only got Yellow Glen." And we all flit out. The bit of the conversation Fleet and I heard was, "I'd rather drink my own piss." And then she hangs up. Then she picks the phone straight back up and goes, "All right, send it up."
Changed her mind so quick. On a dime.
So quick.
Her standards really dropped.
It's almost as if she didn't need to hang up, Sam. She could have just said, "Okay, send it up."
What have you been doing in isolation, Marty, to keep yourself entertained? I mean, you're still doing the radio show every day.
I'm doing the radio show. We're on a small. I'm not sure when this goes to air, but in real time, we're on a small break. But I'm homeschooling now,
right?
With two primary school kids, and surprisingly, that comes with its own set of challenges. Like 2 kids that don't want to homeschool.
Right. That's a pretty major challenge.
They seem to be 2 large parts of the challenge. And a father who is also not interested in schooling them.
So you're not interested in the teaching aspect either?
No, I'd rather shoot hoops or kick a ball around the yard. I'm big on PE, as I always was when I was at school. I'm big on PE,
Yeah.
walking the dog up to the post office. You know,
What
fun
part
stuff.
of the curriculum is that? Or is just PE the longest part of the day?
PE is supposed to be for like 30 minutes a day. I start the day with PE, get the
Right.
blood pumping.
Great.
Just remember that first 15 minutes before school when you were a kid, there'd be a game of hand tennis, or
Yeah.
you know, you weren't just getting out of the car and walking into the classroom.
So that's your thing. You make them run.
I do.
Bit of a beep tease every day. Great.
Yeah, we do. We shoot some hoops and then we go, come on, let's get the blood pumping. Right, let's get in there. And then as soon as we get in there, everyone starts going, I don't want to do this. I'm like, I don't want to do this either. And I'm hungover. So how are we going to resolve this? Maybe let's have a mental health day, guys.
Every day is a mental health day.
I've had about 8 of those.
You're so into mental health though, Marty.
Oh,
just in the last few weeks.
Oh, it's a get out of jail free card when you play the mental health card.
I'm
really
mentally
is
ill.
life-changing.
Yeah.
I'm mentally ill. Go easy on me.
That could have been your excuse today if you wanted one to get out of this podcast.
No, well, I know
I'm
I put you off yesterday, but I did have a bit of a work issue to work through yesterday. So you've got my full attention, Sam.
Well, I've got 2 online confessions, Marty, for you to delve out some wisdom and solve these people's problems. So I found these.
And is this traditionally how the show works, Sam?
It does, yeah. So I know you're a big fan of the show. It's
I am. And it's traditions.
You need to know the basics.
I believe this is one of them.
God, you're good, Marty. You know exactly what this podcast is about.
I knew it.
So I've got 2 online confessions, Marty, that I've found through Reddit, and these people just get all of their woes out there and try and get people to resolve them of their sins. They feel like they need to get it out there. Were you raised Catholic, Marty? Did you ever go?
I was a cat. I was a Catholic. Yes, I was brought up through the Catholic school system.
Do you remember going to confession?
Oh, confession sort of. Yes, I do, but it seemed to end in primary school confession.
I
suppose that might have had something to do with the priest. You know what I'm saying? Got a little bit too old for it.
You've still got it, Marty, even in ISO.
Thank you, mate. Even in ISO, I can still do a pedo gag. We definitely did confession when we were young.
Do you remember making stuff up, or did you go in with? Yeah.
Well, what were you doing?
You've got nothing to say.
You're in 3rd grade. What could you possibly have done?
Unless you're on your way.
Exactly. Unless you're on your way to serial killing and you'd cut up a couple of cats and burned a rat in the garage. I mean, what were you doing?
Well, you had nothing to say, nothing of note. Well, I think you'll be in the perfect position, Marty, to give some great advice, some great Catholic advice to these wonderful people that have written on Reddit today. So the first confession comes from Anne. Anne writes, I've done one of the most embarrassing things you can ever do on a first date. So she opens strong, Marty. What do you think the most embarrassing thing you can do on a first date would be?
Well, it's hard to limit it to one, but the first thought was perhaps she tried to fart and followed through and actually shat herself. I would think that would be right up there.
Yeah.
In terms of easing one off on the other side of the dinner table.
Well, she does shit herself, so that is 100% true. So it is a shitting yourself story. These confessions, Marty, basically, there's always 3 different confessions that they could be. It's either having sex with a ghost, having sex, or shitting yourself. They're basically 3 big ones. So it's a classy show. Yeah. So
how has she managed to achieve this on the first date?
Well, she says possibly one of the worst things you can do. So it probably is one of the worst things. You guessed that, Marty. She probably had too much yellow, Glen.
Yes, I'm thinking it's alcohol related, or she's a prescription drug user and got the mix wrong.
Yeah, both fine, both good options.
Yeah,
we've all been there. Yeah,
mate, I'm there now.
I don't really know why it happened, other than drinking excessive amounts of coffee and eating cheese very quickly before the date.
Well, that's going to.
I have an inkling that's where.
Cheese. You could set your watch by me going to the toilet after eating any kind of cheesy, creamy sort of arrangement. You put a carbonara in front of me and I know where I'm going to be in 17 minutes time.
It's game over for you after the car.
It's game over. So she's had coffee and cheese,
Yeah.
two of the great laxatives in life, and then gone out.
Can I use that as a
woman.
quote, Marty? That is beautiful. Two of the great laxatives in life. But I was extremely anxious to meet this guy, Max, for the first time. We were meeting offline. So that really annoys me that she says that, because it's like they met on an app. You don't have to call regular life offline.
Offline.
No. And I find it so nerve-wracking at the best of times to meet someone for the very first time. So much pressure. And after you've been on a few, the small talk can drive you up the wall. Finding out where someone has been traveling, how many siblings you have, and all types of questions drives me crazy. So
Sure.
That's fair as well, isn't it, Marty? You don't have to get nervous about small talk because you shouldn't lie about it.
No, but small talk can absolutely suck balls if you realise very quickly you're in a small talk situation with someone you don't want to be in a small talk situation with.
Do you do it, Marty? Do you do small talk? Are you a small talking guy, or you go right past it?
I'm trained in small talk. Do you know what I mean? My whole life is small talk, and it's so disposable and awful and depressing. But it is what it is, Sam.
That's your life you're talking about there, Marty. You need to take a mental health day.
Mate, if I had a diploma in anything, it would be small talk.
Small talk. Well, siblings always come up in small talk, and that's a word that you don't use unless you're small talking. You're not going to say siblings to someone that you know. So no. Anne goes on and says, it's a small talk that you have to do when you meet someone for the first time. So I get nervous, really nervous. And Max seems like the kind of grown-up who has his life together. He's tall, handsome, has his steady job, and even has a car. So
wow.
You're pretty impressed by that, aren't you, Marty? That he has a car.
That's good news for him.
But not so much for you on a first date when someone has a car and they're bragging about it.
I'm assuming everyone has a car, but maybe I'm wrong.
Do you just assume that already, Marty? You kind of go, I just assume.
If I'm talking to an adult, I assume you have a car.
You don't walk into a situation skeptical about them owning a car.
No, even if you're say over 24, I reckon I'm thinking you've got a car. If I'm talking to a 30-year-old, you've got a car. You've got a car. We just have never talked about what car you have, because why would you talk about what car you've got unless you're Craig Lowndes? I'm just assuming everyone has a car. That's one of the. I wake up in the morning. That's one of my starting points in life. I'm not going to ask anyone about their car today. I'm just going to assume they have a car.
It's a car-free day. So we order some drinks at the bar, and I'm settling my nerves. Max orders a Shiraz, just what I expected. He seems like the kind of mature that would drink red wine. So
Marty, he's got a car.
He's got a car, I guess you can say that. So it doesn't
He's pretty mature.
So it doesn't take long for conversation to flow, and all regular questions are being thrown out there. I'm keeping up conversation even though my gut is churning and I'm having trouble sitting still. I keep thinking that a few more vodka sodas will settle it soon enough.
No.
Do you think, Marty, in that situation, if you were in Anne's situation on a date with a real mature guy, he's got a car, Marty, don't forget that. He drinks Shiraz.
I know.
Would you, I don't need to tell you that. Would you fucking get out, Marty? Would you do the mature thing and go, I'm not well, I'll go?
I'm not a good out of my own house pooer.
Right.
Like if you said if I was in a crisis situation.
Look, but say you've had like two carbonaras in one sitting at an Italian restaurant.
And I'm thinking, I'm gonna have to go to the toilet. I would probably call it a night and literally take that shit home. I would be very reluctant to mid-drink, having just ordered another vodka and soda, say, could you excuse me while I go to the bathroom, and then be gone for like the amount of time it takes a bloke to have a shit. It's so obvious what's just happened.
Yeah.
Not to mention the fact you're in a public toilet, regardless of the fact it's within the restaurant. Gross.
It's still a public toilet. It's open to the public. I mean, I don't think that he would be waiting around for that. I mean, he does have a car, we know that, so he could easily get out of there.
Yeah.
So Anne doesn't do
What are
that.
you thinking? What are you suggesting, that you just give it a bit of, can you just excuse me for 1 second, and then you just fuck off into the night? Is
You
that
just
where
run. You leg it.
you
I think you should always run from your problems, Marty. I'm always
yeah,
thinking that. Just run.
like a full ghosting situation where you just never reply to the guy's sort of queries or
Yeah.
inquiries about what's taken place.
Just run away. I think it's always good just to
Oh,
run away from. That's how I get out of small talk, Marty. I just run.
mate, I don't ever remember just like fully running from a situation, unless it's obviously violence or crime.
Right.
I can't actually remember ever running from a sort of interpersonal situation that that takes some explaining for why you've just left. Young people
bolted.
are brilliant at this. They just go, I'm off. That's it.
I'm off. I
I'm
best
off.
be off. Yeah.
I'm off.
I'm off. Yeah. Okay. So she doesn't do that, Marty. She sticks around. She decides she's going to stay because this guy, Max, is worth it. So she writes, but I was dead wrong. I'm no scientist, of course, but I think this only made things worse. This is a vodka and sodas. She doesn't have to be a scientist to do that. Max, basic common sense. Max soon asked at the end of the night if I'd like to accompany him home.
Ooh.
So you get out of it then, don't you, Marty? You don't go, I'm going to risk this. I'm going to risk shitting.
No, you go, hey, rain check. Love that idea.
Yeah.
Absolutely love it. But such a massive day tomorrow.
Yeah.
I hadn't even touched on it with you earlier in the day because, we're small talking. We're not really talking. But I'm going to call it tonight, and we are catching up super soon.
Super soon. You don't need to say, I need to go because I'm about to shit myself.
You don't need to say any of that.
Need to say that.
You just have to leave.
Yeah. So she writes, of course I wanted to. At that point, my gut was fine, so I thought it wouldn't be an issue. We kissed outside and everything seemed normal. He ordered an Uber and made hilarious conversation with the driver. Marty, do you like hilarious conversations with a fucking Uber driver?
I'm not famous for it. I'm not famous for it.
Do you sit in the back and don't talk?
I do whatever mood I'm in.
Yeah.
But I'll give it a bit of, how's your day?
Yeah. Busy?
Busy?
Yeah.
I'll give it a bit of that.
Yeah. But nothing more.
Seems a bit quiet. Seems a bit quiet tonight. Where'd you grow up, mate?
Not a hilarious conversation with the driver. Yeah. So
I don't mind a bit of, you know what I do? I just pepper questions in so I don't have to talk. Do you know what I mean? Where'd you grow up? How long you been here? You got family here? That sort of stuff.
Anyone ever spewed in your car? That's my go-to.
Anyone ever spewed in your car's good.
Yeah, that's a really good one.
I'm gonna fold that one into my patter.
of nonsensical questions where you don't answer anything. Yeah.
No, I'm not actually talking.
I could tell he wanted to impress me, and he was doing a great job. But as the driver went over some bumps, my gut started churning again and again. I knew right away there was nothing I could do. So what do you do, Marty? Your gut's churning. You're going to shit yourself in the car. What do you do? Do you stop the car?
Is it? I'm having second thoughts. I feel like this is all moving too quickly.
Yeah,
I'm going to jump out here, and I'm going to get myself home, and I'll bang you a text when I get there.
Bang you a text?
Yeah, I'll bang you a text. So you know that I'm home safely, because I have to get out of this car right now.
Right now. It's happening
Take a
right
shit
now.
Behind that guy's head.
When the car slowed down a bit, I did the only thing I could think of and jumped out. Stopped, dropped, and rolled, and shit myself. That's not the third part of stop, drop, and roll and shit myself. Stop, drop, shit yourself. Drop your guts.
Yeah. Stop, drop, and roll. No. You've added a fourth component, and shit myself.
That's not meant to be in there. That's not in the training.
And certainly that was never part of any sort of training for potential nuclear disaster. Jeez. Stop, drop, and roll, or even sort of if you're on fire.
Shit yourself.
Because why would you care? Why would you care if the fourth component of that is shitting yourself? You've already burnt to death.
Don't worry about it. Put it out of your mind. It was single-handedly the most embarrassing thing I've ever done. I saw the car stop in the distance and I did everything to clean myself off.
Oh, God.
I had to act fast because Max was coming back for me. He's the kind of
Don't,
guy
Max.
that would. Don't, Max,
Of
it's
course,
not safe.
he's got a car and he's a red wine drinker. They come back for people.
They come back. That's genuinely what they do. I got up, took off my underwear and threw them away. I took off my jacket and gave myself a quick clean as I too throw that away. The car started reversing after staying put for a few moments, which bought me some time. And then, just as the car pulled up, I got back in.
Oh.
So, Marty, you've stopped, dropped, and rolled out of a car and you shit yourself. What is your excuse when you get back in the car at that point?
You've sacrificed, you've reappeared in the car, sans, underpants, and jacket. So something's happened. Could you try a loose bit of a fun story like, I just gave my jacket to a homeless guy? Could that be a direction you went in? Or is it like, I panicked?
Yeah.
I have sometimes I have a physical response to sort of,
Ubers.
Ubers and going home with strangers, which is effectively what you still are.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't mention.
I think that's smart. You probably wouldn't. No, I would never mention that I just shit myself. I jumped out of the car, stopped, dropped, and shat myself.
No,
I would never bring that up. I'm not doing any of that.
That is not small talk.
Small talk is I shit myself. I jumped out of a moving car so I could shit myself.
Yeah, because if you want to make that small talk, you've got to get back into the car then and go, you won't believe what just happened.
You really won't.
I've just shat myself. I've thrown my undies away and wiped myself up with a bit of a jacket, and I've left that back there as well. Anyway, Max, let's push on.
Let's fuck.
This night is not over, Max.
Not in my book.
I'm going to have a quick shower.
Max asked what happened, and thinking on my feet, I told him that I thought we were about to collide with another car, so I jumped out.
Oh, okay.
It's pretty. I mean, it's a pretty extreme lie, but whatever. She got away with it.
It's no better than giving your coat to a homeless person.
It also doesn't explain the coat or the underwear, but
no, it doesn't.
The driver told me we were only going 50 kilometers at that point, but I stood my ground. So the driver's interjecting with, "I don't think that was what happened. I think you shit yourself, man." Max asked if I was hurt, and I said no, but Max did tell me that I should change the route to my address. So he's now gone off the idea of having her back at his house.
He's just had a stranger jump out of a moving vehicle and then return without underpants or a jacket. Yeah. It's time to let her go home.
I think it's time to go home. You've had a few too many Shirazes, too many vodkas, a few too many vodka bodies. You need to go home, I reckon.
Absolutely.
That's at that point of the night when everyone gets the tap on the shoulder and goes, "I think you've had enough.
You've had enough.
You've had more than enough." I typed into his phone and we were on the way back to mine. Max was stunned. And when I got out, I got a little peck on the cheek and he told me to message him and tell him that if I was feeling okay later on. It's now been a few days and there have been a few messages back and forth, but they all seem kind of short. I don't think Max wants to go on another date, but I really want to. I don't want to miss out on all that Max has to offer. So, Marty, we know at the moment that's a car and a Shiraz. Is it possible to come clean after all of this? I probably affected his Uber rating too. So I think that's obviously the worst bit. You definitely would. You would definitely affect someone's Uber rating if you jumped in a moving vehicle and then blamed it on them.
If it was time to give Anne advice, which it may well be, I would think she has nothing to lose now.
Right.
You might as well just say, listen, when I said that I thought we were going to crash, that wasn't exactly what happened.
Yeah. It wasn't exactly what happened.
I dropped, I rolled, I shat myself, I threw my undies away and I used my jacket to tidy myself up. But I like you and I want to see you again. But I feel like having told you this now is going to be a nail in the coffin.
Do you feel like saying that to someone?
Question mark.
And then if they don't reply, question mark again. Hit him with more question marks, Marty. If someone came clean to you and told you that they did that on a first date, would you want to see them again, Marty? Do you think that the honesty?
I'd give it. Look, for the honesty alone.
Yeah.
One more.
Yeah.
I'd give him one more.
And she really has nothing to lose.
That's right. If it happens again, that is absolutely it. Even if it happens in the first 4 or 5 years, if we end up, building something together. If you jump out of a moving car again and shit yourself when I'm around, that's it. It's over.
God, you're a harsh man, Marty, but you're fair.
Well, I think if you lay that out early days and everyone knows what's expected of each other, I mean, you can't be any fairer than that. Don't shit yourself and jump out of a moving cab anymore.
End of story.
End of story, Anne. I gave you a second chance.
Stop biting into cheese hole, maybe, before a date. And drinking that much coffee. Well, we've solved that confession, Marty. And because you know the format of this show so well, we've got one more confession, Marty.
Good.
That comes from Duncan. And Duncan confesses, I'm a regular guy who has done a lot of great things in my life.
Okay.
Do you like him so far? Do you reckon he has a car, Marty?
No, I reckon he's got a car.
Yeah.
Do regular guys do a lot of great things in their life? Or are they, by definition, just regular guys?
Just flogs.
I reckon regular guys. I don't reckon regular guys do a lot of extraordinary stuff, but I could be wrong.
Not every day. You gotta have a break, a mental health day every now and again. I've been lucky enough to live the life I've always wanted to. I bought into a company fairly early on in my career, and it just skyrocketed. I got the wife, the house, and the close-knit friendship group. That's pretty nice, isn't it, Marty? He's got it all.
I don't like the wife. I don't like that as a turn of phrase. I got the wife. I get the house because that's what it is.
Yeah. But it's not the wife. She's got a name. It's probably Anne.
It's probably Max. This guy's starting to shit me, but let's push on.
You should stop dropping shit right now, Marty. Anything a man could ever dream of. But I do have a secret. And it's a pretty fucked one, if I'm honest. What do you think it is, Marty? If he says it's fucked, what do you think it is? So he's described the family. He's talked about that quite openly. He's got the wife. What do you think? Is there anything at the moment?
He's lying. He's got to be lying to the wife about something.
Yeah.
Because I don't think he'll care about his friendship circle or the house. And it's hard to lie to a house. Houses always know what you're thinking. And what you're thinking is, how the fuck am I going to pay this thing off? So they know what you're thinking. I'd say he's lying to the wife. He's mentioned the kids in the friendship group, so he feels like he's letting down the whole circle. He's either having a relationship with a man, which is totally fine, but may go against his sort of set of principles and morals that he's lived up till now by, or he's transitioning into and wants to become a woman.
Right. They're pretty good guesses. This is what he writes. I have a second family.
Second family.
It's always that second family. I have a second family. Yep, a whole second family in Bali. I was there once a year for business, and that started going up. Twice a year, 3 times a year. So we know how our going up works. But he's saying 3 times a year, 4 times a year, and most of it wasn't just business. I probably worked 3 hours a day in the early days and then had the rest of the time to eat, drink, and party.
Right.
The next sentence, Marty, might surprise you, but he writes, Bali is known for being a bit of a classy place, really. Do you agree with that?
That does surprise me because whenever I've been to Bali, and it was only once, but it was for a week that felt like 8 months, it was a hellhole of open drains and filth.
Yeah. A lot of bintang. You've heard of bintang.
Big bintang. And then suddenly you're walking along a street with Prada shops. I'm like, none of this.
This doesn't seem right.
None of this makes sense.
But it's great if
There's
you love
a guy
knockoffs.
over there making chicken skewers without any form of refrigeration whatsoever. It's 40 degrees, but I can get a Louis Vuitton handbag over there. No,
it's really not a knockoff. And a few DVDs in plastic sleeves. That's kind of what they're They do a
And
lot.
no
of that as well.
bins.
No bins. They don't need them. The whole place is one.
Why don't they get some bins?
You should go over with a few bins.
That is not a huge outlay in terms of infrastructure. I'm not talking education. I'm talking bins.
Just plastic bins.
Just some bins.
For God's sake, some bins.
What's wrong with you people?
So he says
bins.
He says it's a classy place, which we don't agree with. You can live like a king for next to nothing. And I was loving it. But I love that it's a classy place, but when you say live like a king for next to nothing, that sort of makes you feel like it's not that classy.
No, you shouldn't be able to live like a king for next to nothing.
Not in a classy place.
That's not what kingdoms are about.
Bali's okay, so you can live like a king for next to nothing, and I was loving it. But out one night, I stuck my dick in a local girl who ended up pregnant. Oh. Isn't that an awful way to describe that? Beautiful, beautiful way to describe that.
Oh, my God.
I stayed in touch with her because I had a terrific night.
Yeah.
But when I found out she was pregnant, I didn't know what to do. I just thought I'd have her on the side for a bit of fun and to muck about anytime I went over. But I had to set her up in the apartment I bought over there. Right. I was regretting it all, but couldn't not do that. So I set her up and didn't tell anybody at all, not even my friends. Okay. My mistress.
That's a heavy burden.
Huge burden.
That's a huge burden to just have that ticking in the back of your mind all the time.
Yeah, and living like a king in an apartment complex. In a flat.
That doesn't in Bali. None of this is
doesn't check out. My mistress knows about my first family, of course. She knows about my better half. So he's even calling the wife back home his better half, even to the mistress.
Okay.
Not very nice.
Okay.
And I live in fear that my wife is going to find out. So far, so good. It's 2 years in. But I live an enormous amount of guilt. It's not the best feeling in the world, Marty, to live with all that guilt. Not the best feeling in the world. I can name a few things that are better than that.
Yeah,
ejaculating. Going numb from Shiraz, ejaculating.
Yeah, absolutely. There's two straight off the bat.
Cut and loose. So far, so good. I feel like I need to do something about it. Every time I look at my wife, I wonder what I have done. I wonder about having those too many drinks that night and what I could have done to avoid it. It's fucking awful to feel like this. I'm a 47-year-old man and I've acted like a toddler.
Yeah.
Well, not. A toddler doesn't really say sticky stuff, does he? But
no, that's a different experience of that sort of Indonesian sort of part of the world. It is available, but it is not
if you pay the good price for it. And I mean, the toddler he doesn't have a car, so think about that. Toddler doesn't have a car,
mate. This idea that every time he looks at his wife and starts thinking about Bali might suggest to me that he should go to Bali. Do you know what I mean?
To Bali, yeah.
It might be time.
Yeah.
It might be time.
Just move there full time.
Because if you were in his position, you've got two families to choose from.
Yeah.
You're already a pig. So, I mean, making the next decision surely is no harder than making the first decision to set up a second family.
Yeah.
So let's go full pig. Let's go full pig and choose the family you like most and go with them.
Great. Okay. Right. He has to make a decision and then he has to come clean and say what he's actually done.
Yeah. He's got to say, listen, Bali's gotten out of control.
The whole place. No bins. Describe the no bins. I'll get her on side.
No bins. Can you believe it? Guys cooking stuff without seemingly any sort of refrigeration at all. I've got a second family in Bali and I like them more. I'm leaving.
Is that just over dinner? Just a casual conversation?
I think you've got to rip the Band-Aid off. You know what I mean?
I'm leaving. I'm done.
Don't be an ass and start petty fights and sort of construct some 6, 8, 12-month leaving campaign where you're the only one that knows you're in the middle of the campaign.
Yeah, yeah. Could he
just
rip it right off? Do you think he could maybe fake his own death or something? You reckon he could just build on it, double down?
Look, you can always do that.
That's always an option.
Look, on one of those Bali trips, just
Just done. Gone. New life, new passport, everything.
You know, yeah. Wallet, keys to your car that's at home, passport, packet of smokes and a lighter just on the beach.
Just on the beach. It's just you and that lighter.
And then you're never seen again. Someone just comes across this pile of personal belongings. Oh my God, this is old mate who set up the business over here years ago.
Who brought bins to Bali?
I can only assume he's drowned. Better let everyone know.
I better tell everybody and his family back home that he's drowned.
And then
he's definitely drowned.
Then
you're out.
Then you're out.
Yeah.
Then you're living up near that weird monkey farm in that monkey forest near that place everyone in Bali bangs on about.
That beautiful monkey farm.
Yeah, the beautiful sort of monkey forest. I can't remember the name that they call it, but when I was there, I just thought, this is shit out.
Yeah. This is worse than everything else about it. I feel like, so you think that Duncan basically needs to come clean to his wife, rip it off and just go, I've got a second family.
Or alternately, to the Balinese woman and child.
Right.
It doesn't matter. You've got to pick which family you want.
Yeah.
Now that you've created two families, you can't live between two families.
And the stress of that all, imagine every night thinking about your second family.
Oh my God, could you imagine?
Just the day-to-day stress.
You might as well start a third family.
Maybe 3 or 4.
Just to relax.
A nice one in Thailand as well. That'd be nice.
Just to unwind.
Yeah. So
get it away.
At the end of that, Marty, you heard from 2 wonderful people. Who would you want to hear from again out of Anne and Duncan? Do you wish any of them well?
Anne, every day of the week. Duncan's
he's a lost cause.
He's built a real rod for his back there, Duncan, and I don't need an update on his progress. He lost me when he referred to his wife as that wife. He lost me very early on. In fact, I would have preferred for him to be transitioning into a woman and having to have had that conversation with his wife, because at least you could maintain your family.
Right, yeah, and still be a good person. You just had to make a choice.
Yes, you just had to make a tough choice and have some tough conversations about who you are and how you fit now.
Yeah. And Marty, at the end of that, so you want to hear from Anne again. I know that you're not a social media guy, but people can find you every day on the radio. But also, are you reorganising your stand-up shows at the moment? Are they going to be after all of the?
Well, we're hoping to, Sam. We're hoping to sort of roll back out October, November. But as this lockdown continues, I wonder whether we'll have to push that back again.
Yeah, sure.
So we're obviously reluctant to sort of to
name it right now.
Moving it. Well, we've named it, but we don't want to keep moving it. But if we have to keep moving it, we'll just keep moving it, because what else do you do?
Yeah.
There's a show there that needs to be done. But of course, you had all of those people in my position doing all of those festivals around the country, and you may be included in that, Sam, now all looking to rehire venues. Yeah. So you've got this sort of availability issue now as well.
It's huge. Yeah. Were you enjoying getting back into the routine of doing stand-up?
Yeah, I was loving it.
Yeah.
The actual knocking the show in was hard work, but once I felt confident with it, and I knew it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was really enjoying it. I was loving that sort of road warrior. There's a deep loneliness in stand-up that I perversely sort of enjoy.
The road dog life.
The road dog sort of hotel room club sandwich, obviously masturbating an enormous amount, more than you probably should.
Yeah, bit of yellow Glen at night.
walking off stage into an empty dressing room, and then beyond that empty dressing room, if you're lucky enough to walk from the venue back to your hotel on your own, just adds the next level of deep loneliness around.
We all strive for.
We're all striving for as we try to master the craft of making people laugh and also not taking our own lives on the same night. It's a heady mix, Sam.
I think at the end of the day, you can be real happy that you don't have that second family to worry about in Bali.
It's such a relief.
Every day you think about that.
I said that to myself at the Adelaide Festival earlier this year. God, what a relief. I don't have another family here.
Well, Marty Sheargold, thank you so much for making the time to come on the podcast.
Pleasure, Sam.
And
Let's
maybe in
do it
another
again
2
in a
years
couple of
we
years.
could. Yeah. I bloody knew you'd say that. Thank you. Thank you, mate. I really appreciate you coming on.
Pleasure, Sam.
Thank you.
Good
Bye.
on your back.
Bye.